Shalom again, everyone. Ariel Tzadok here from the KosherTorah School, found online at www.koshertorah.com, bringing to you today's daily lesson in the Sefer Yetzirah. This is lesson number 36, and it's going to be the concluding lecture in chapter 1. Tomorrow's lesson, 37, will begin chapter 2. And of course, we are dedicating all of these lessons to the safety, health, well-being, and prosperity everybody around the world who are facing the trials and tribulations in our present times. So, focusing on the positive energy, materializing it, creating forms of good things. Let's move on and do just that. As I said, we're now concluding chapter 1 of the text. And chapter 1, like we said now, is all about the Sefirot. Now, the final Mishna 15 is very simple, and it's a repeat of all that we've already learned. Elu es Sefirot bilima. What we have learned, these are the 10 Sefirot. Again, now we have the return of that word, bilima, emphasizing that we're dealing with energetic forms, or let me rephrase that, energetic forces, which are outside of our three-dimensional reality. We've therefore defined the forces. Really, it's the materialization of the single force in multiple force forms. Could I use that term? It's not contradictory. And as such, these forces, which is the manifestation of the single force, therefore are the foundation of all forms that are to come. Form, we refer to in Sefer Yetzirah language as the letters. The Sefirot are again the force. Now, Ahat, Ruach, Elohim, Hayim. Number 1, we had that spirit of the living God. We defined what we call God as the life force energy. Life itself, apparently, is conscious, sentient, and purposeful. This actually and obviously contradicts the foundation of atheism. Atheism, again, proclaims that there is no God. Fine, whatever. But they also emphatically contradict or condemn the concept of intelligent design. And I think that is one of the greatest leaps of faith that any religion has ever made. Think about it. Everything that exists is here for absolutely no reason, no purpose, no design, no intent. Everything just happened for no reason whatsoever. That means, according to those of that persuasion, life has no purpose. Life has no meaning. There's no value to anything. Everything is just complete accident. That is the fundamental belief of the atheist. Good gosh, like I said, I think that's the biggest leap of faith of them all, because in my opinion, everything that I see in all of existence contradicts that in every single way. It is springtime right now. Rain falls. Grass grows. Why? Just so happens it's following nature. Where did these laws of nature come from, if not from a, in quote, lawgiver? No. Understanding what we can call intelligent design does not verify or validate any world religion, including Judaism, my own. No, it doesn't. The true reality of the world speaks for itself. So there clearly is some intelligent design and purpose behind things. That is the Ruach, Elohim, Chaim. That is the true definition and nature of God, which, as you can see, is universal. Not only is it global within the context of our human family. It is universal within the context of all life everywhere. So when the day does come and we do interact with the real other three-dimensional entities, extraterrestrials out there on whatever planets that they are, we're going to find that same foundation of the singular intelligent design source, which if we're searching for in our species and race, you can rest assured so are they. What I'm afraid of is that they might have developed their own wild and crazy religions just like we have. Can you imagine that the first alien contact we will ever have would be with missionaries of an extraterrestrial religion? Oh my gosh, God save us. You know what happens when missionaries come and they find people who aren't, shall we say, worthy of receiving their message? Maybe that's why E.T. always comes here and destroys us. Remember all those the big sci-fi movies? The aliens are always blowing up. Why? Maybe because we're not accepting their religion. The great holy purple octopus. Who knows? Yes, I'm being facetious, of course. But only to make you think. Achat means everything. Ruach, the spirit, the living flow of life itself. That is God. Not with a little beard, sitting on a cloud somewhere, or whatever other religious concepts you have in any of our religions. Put it aside. But from this ruach comes another ruach. And from that comes mayim meruach. And from that comes fire from mayim, water. So here we have our elements. Air, water, fire. These are going to become very important to us as we proceed into chapter 2. Now, we've already discussed what these really are. The foundational powers of thesis, antithesis, and synthesis, right, left balance, okay? The Hadar, Hesed, Din, Rachamim, as we call it. Understand something. Whether it's Rabbi Chaim Vital here in his commentary of the Sefer Yetzirah, or in his Etz Chaim in Shar 50, Gate 50 of the Etz Chaim, we have an entire series on that on Kosher Torah for you. He elaborates on the 4 elemental concepts, fire, air, earth, water stuff. Now, understand that this does not have its historical source in Judaism. It was actually the Greeks and the Romans that developed the ideas, the concepts, that is the foundation of our Sefer Yetzirah. Because they're the ones who were scientifically oriented to gaze around the world. And they contributed that. And it was absorbed into Torah. Yes, that's really true. Much of Torah comes from outside sources that were absorbed in. Moses absorbed things from Egyptian culture. Ezra absorbed things from Babylonian and Persian culture. Our rabbis and sages absorbed things from Greco-Roman culture. This is the reality of things. I have my poor Sierra sitting outside the door. She was outside in the back. Oh, she has such separation anxieties. But that's nature. Or is it that haphazard, irrelevant, has no meaning and purpose to things? Everything has meaning and purpose. That's what you must understand. So, why do you think, in quote, God gave wisdom to the nations of the world? I'm going to tell you why. Because the Greeks had a perspective of understanding things that the original Israelites did not and possibly could not. And therefore, they developed things on their own. And as the intelligent design so designs, brought it together in its time. There are many things that Jews, Israel, the Torah, actually learned from ancient Egypt. One of them, which most people don't know, was actually circumcision. God commanded Abraham to circumcise. Yeah, but did you know circumcision began with the Egyptians? If Abraham saw circumcision, he saw it in Egypt before God commanded him to do it. Look at the structure of the Ark of the Covenant and the tabernacle. Historical documentation, even rabbis know this. Very similar to similar and previous Egyptian designs. Much that we find in the Talmud is brought in from Babylonian culture and traditions, Persian culture and traditions, of course, Roman culture and traditions, many of these things. We needed the perspective from these other, if you will, spokes of the wheel that look into the center. And they were all brought in. So for those of you who think that Judaism is a unique and separate ethnicity, you're very wrong. Because all these things came in, and that is the design, intelligent design, by God. So look today, to this very, very day. A lot of what we have in Western culture is now being absorbed into Judaism. As we become more involved with and integrate with cultures of the Far East, of the Indian traditions, Chinese traditions, Japanese and Korean traditions, we will see those valuable items and things coming and being absorbed too. That ultimately we will have the universal homogeny, everything coming together. Where? In three-dimensional space and time. Ruah, Rum, Tahad, Mizrach, Ma'arav, Tzafon, V'darom. Right? Up, down, north, south, east, west. Right? Reb Chaim writes that the intent of all this is to reveal the powers of the 10 Sefirot of Zeir Anpin. Remember our level of consciousness? We call that the world. And this is the secret of that wisdom. The 32 wondrous paths of which we've been talking about. The wonders, remember we said that word wonder is Pele? It's from the reverse of the letter Aleph. It's a hidden mystery of why and how God operates the world the way God operates the world. But as you see how everything in the material universe comes together to form the whole, so it is with wisdom. The 32 wondrous paths are not unique to any one people, theology, doctrine, or creed. They are the experience of the energies. And these energies are going to materialize in what we call the 22 letters of the Hebrew alphabet. But just a little foreshadow here. As we go into chapter 2, we're going to discuss something called the 231 gates. We already mentioned gates before. These are the combinations of letters with each other. And the combination of letters with each other give rise to all different words. So for example, I can combine 3 Hebrew letters, Kaf, Lamed, Bet. Lamed, Bet, hey, that's Lev, that's heart. And I can take the Hebrew letter Kaf and I can say like heart. Or I can read Kal, Kaf, Lamed, Bet is Kelev, doggy. A little Sierra who's sitting outside the door waiting so patiently to come back in. Or I can take the letter Dalet and add the letter Gimel. And I can have in Hebrew dog, which means fish. Or I can add the letter Vav in between, put a little dot on the top to make it an O sound, and have dog, which is Kelev in English. Oh, what am I doing? I am playing around with sounds and letters to show how all the different languages come from the same source. Yeah, we're going to get into that in chapter 2. Abu Lafia got into this a lot and recognized, like we say in Pirkei Avot, the wise words of our sages, hafuch ba hafuch ba, flip it over and flip it back, everything is in it. So when we understand the secret of the Ahad, Ruach Haim, Ruach Elohim Haim, that singularity is in everything. And then we have the materialization of the forms, Ruach, Maim, Ish, what we refer to as air, water, fire. Remember, that's only the symbolic expressions of the energies that we called, again, Hesed Din Rachamim, the Greek tradition, again, thesis, antithesis, and synthesis. Now I'll share with you. Many of you might be familiar from high school days with the mathematician Pythagoras. Remember the Pythagorean theorem about, the triangles, sides, a squared, b squared equals c squared kind of stuff, the hypotenuse kind of thing? Okay, Pythagoras was a brilliant mystic who meditated upon and explored, they call it today, sacred geometry. Try to understand the nature of the world around us. Yawn. What does that have to do with Judaism? Well, we go into ancient Greek sources, and it documents that Pythagoras traveled all around the world to learn wisdom from all different sources, one source of which was Israel. I believe it was supposedly in the days of Jeremiah, right before the destruction of the temple. He came, visited here, and learned from Israel. Well, what do you know? Just like Israel absorbed from the Greeks, well, what do you know? The Greeks absorbed from Israel. That movement of that living Spirit of God. So now, as we're going to transition from the energy into the forms, from force to form, may the force be with you, we are going to have to recognize that fluidity. No, in our series here, I am not going to be focusing on the Tao Te Ching of Shuangzi. I'm not going to be teaching the Yoga Sutras of Patanjali. Those have their own profound and value wisdom to them. But that's not the course that we're studying here. But recognize that the same letters and same energy that form the Sefer Yetzirah is the same force and the same letters in different combinations which formed the Yoga Sutras, the Tao Te Ching, and the other books that are out there. And they form different ways and different means, just like we learned in our previous lesson, how you have different keys for different locks, which form different ways. So, we've now concluded chapter 1. I've taught you everything that you need to know about the Sefirot. And now, as we're going to practice how? Combining the letters into different forms. And as those forms materialize, we have to be sensitive to the flow of the energy, the Sefirot, within them. And as you go into a form, you will recognize, the nature of this form in that context, its context, will be a materialization of Hesed energy, or Gevura energy, or Tiferet energy, or whatever. How do you know? No book is going to teach you this. No rabbi will document it for you. You will know because the energy within you will connect to the energies within that. And the forms of external there that you look at and gaze upon will access something in your mind. Key into lock. And you will open it up. That is the secret of these 32 wondrous paths. And when you understand them in practice, and that practice is what's coming, starting in our next lesson, you will know, you will experience. And that is what the Sefer Yetzirah is all about. So on that note, I'll conclude this chapter 1. Chapter 2 coming next class. If you're interested in other meditative classes, traditions that we have to offer you, check out our course page at our KosherTorah School. And I might remind you now, for the past 36 classes, we've been here for you. And I always ask if you would be so kind as to express your appreciation by making a contribution, financial donation, to our KosherTorah School, www.paypal.me, I think it is, /KosherTorah School. That's it. Go there, however much you can afford, whatever much you feel that we're worth. Express your appreciation to us. I appreciate that from you. Alrighty. That's it for today. Ariel Bar Tzadok, KosherTorah School, KosherTorah.com. I'll see you all for Chapter 2. Next class. Same bat time. Same bat channel. How many of you remember that? See you soon. Shalom.